Oh, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Accountancy Sexy Change My Mind. So today we have a very sexy man with us, Johann Goree. And you might know Johann from, a few things that he does. On Point Accounting, Ask the Accountant podcast with Aaron Patrick, or you might know him for buying practices such as Bev Flanagan and Joe Woods, which is like the talk of the town at the moment. Like, it's such a brilliant move, for Joe, such a brilliant move for Joe. But I wanted to bring Johann on to talk about this with you because I think people are missing a trick when it comes to building their practices. So, without further ado, welcome to the show, Johann.
Hello.
Thank you for coming. So, you're racking up quite the activity. I mean, I've missed out the fact that you talk at every accounting show as well. Like, you're a busy boy.
Yeah, and that I'm a co-founder for Client Engager.
But I didn't even know that. I didn't even know.
Spinning many plates. I'm one of those that if I didn't have variety in my life, I'd be bored.
Yeah.
And it's one of the main reasons my firm's never niched down on an industry or anything, because I just get bored.
Yeah, no, I understand that. There is an argument for niching. Niching to me, and we'll move on from this because it's not about that, but it's just understanding your clients. And there are so many different ways to niche, and it doesn't have to be industry type, and it doesn't have to be size.
Yeah, completely agree.
Right, but you're not here to talk about niching. I want to understand more about your journey, first of all, if you can fill me in. Because so you've been buying up practices, but you didn't start with buying practices. So can you take me back to the days of, I don't know, just be like an accountant? Where did that come from?
So I'm not an accountant, to start with. I am at best a licensed bookkeeper. So I used to work for a company in the outdoor leisure industry. Worked for them for 14 years. Started when I was 18, Started as a cleaner. They were a fantastic company from the point of view of they felt you were teachable, you could do anything. They weren't worried about what qualifications you did or didn't have.
Yeah.
It was more about attitude than aptitude, which I love. Well, by the time I left them at the age of 28, when I left them, I was one of their finance managers. So I'd gone into retail within them because they had bars and shops on sites because it was all residential trips. And one day they decided, well, if you can run a pub or a bar, that means you can be a finance manager as well. It's the same thing, right? Counting pennies and right, okay,
numbers, right?
Yeah, that's it, right. So I went into become a retail finance manager, as they were called. In the latter years, they got brought out by a venture capitalist group, and decisions were starting to be made at a level that I wasn't comfortable with, in the form of minimum standards. Everything was about minimum standards, and no one could excel past it. And
sounds like my son.
Minimum standards, and then there was talking about redundancies and stuff. It's like, I don't want to be part of this. It's not what I joined it 14 years ago. So at that point, I'd already been destroying my liver most weekends, courtesy of my friends who were buying me pints in return for advice on how to do basic bookkeeping and tax returns, because they were struggling to get the advice they needed, because all the big accounting firms close by either charged them for the privilege of answering a phone or didn't even take the call to start with because they were too small.
Right.
So I went, well, if I can destroy a liver on this, I might be able to build a bank account.
I mean, who knew that was the way to get drinks? I might try it.
I'll tell you what, don't, because I'm now with a fatty liver. So it's not good for you in the long run. But yeah, so I decided to strike out on my own in 2017 as a bookkeeper to start with. And in May 2017, I got my first client. By October 2017, I was doing that well. I could pack in my day job part-time. By December 2017, I was completely self-employed. fast track to today, team of 22 people looking after about 780 odd clients across the UK in the form of 4 different accounting firms. So yeah, I started out to support small businesses. We still do that, but we now branch out into all sorts of stuff. So we've grown our services as we've grown our team. So like you've got Scott, who's an R&D tax specialist. He is a traditional tax guy. Like if I run out of leash, I won't find him for a week because he'll be buried somewhere in some tax legislation, trying to work out what he can and can't claim.
Buried under paperwork.
Yeah, he's brilliant. The clients get a really good tax return, but he's just blinkered to the world once he started.
Yeah,
we've got Jade, who's joined me as a part-time bookkeeper. She's now my operations manager. Vicky joined us as a bookkeeper. She's now our head of accounts. So we've just built a package of services around our own experiences and knowledge. So I'm a chartered manager. So my skill set is management and leadership. Always has been. I'm really passionate about it. I want to make sure my team are managed effectively, using the modern processes, etc. So they're just in a place of work where actually money doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The environment, the culture, that's what really matters to them. And they love coming to work.
So when you started out then, did you set out with it, or did you think early on, I'm going to build this practice to that scale, or did it kind of just happen? Like, how did that decision-making process come about?
So that wasn't the intention. The plan was, so I was 28, single, living in a very low-cost, rented a bit of accommodation up in the Highlands of Scotland. I just needed the business to give me 15, 20 grand a year in take-home pay. And it was just me and the dog. We were going to be quite happy. Now married.
Oh, I feel like something changed there.
With a mortgage. Still got the dog. But now want to pay for holidays and stuff. So the only thing I ever said when I set out with my business was it has to deliver the lifestyle that I want to be leading at the time I'm leaving. So originally it did that. It gave me the freedom to come and go. It gave me the freedom to do what I wanted when I wanted. And if I chose to sit in front of the TV working at night, that was my choice. If I chose not to, then that was my choice. Now it pays for me on nice holidays. It pays for the house that my wife and I have got in Edinburgh. So it's still delivering today what I set out for it to do, which is to deliver the lifestyle I wanted at the time I wanted it. Yeah,
and your lifestyle has changed over the years because you couldn't accommodate it.
Yeah, life evolves. Yeah. So, if you asked my mother, she would have never have expected me at the age when I left that I'd end up married. Never mind anything else.
Just you and the dog in the Highlands.
Yeah. So life changes. So that's why the business had to be able to adapt to that.
Yeah.
So that was all I said to myself. Now, what I probably naively forgot is my competitive side, and my drive and my ambition. None of that really registered with me at the time. But then in reflection, it's always been there. I've always striven for the next promotion. So we then roll into 2020, and I had an opportunity to set up another bookkeeper was selling. Vicky wanted to sell up and move on. She'd just split with her husband. She had 2 kids with a lot of learning. So she said, look, Johann, can you look after my clients? I'm going to go and get a PAYE job. I'm going to service the debt I put into the business that way. And we'll get, just look after my clients. And I just said to Vicky, well, actually, looking at it, I'll take the business on. I'll take all your debt on and I'll give you a PAYE job. So you've got the security you're looking for. Because I needed another bookkeeper at the time.
Yeah.
And she had the capacity to look after her clients and some more. So
that is a fantastic win-win. Well done for spotting that opportunity.
So at that point, we started the On Point Accounting Group, which consisted of On Point Accounting, which was my original business. Beforehand, it was known as JGBC, but we rebranded to On Point Accounting. And then Vicky's business, Brighter Future Accountancy, came under and got rebranded to On Point Accounting, Hemel Hempstead, which is where it's based.
Yeah, it's just down the road.
There you go. So yeah, it's and then COVID hit, and everything we set out to do originally came home, because all of a sudden, me and the team were on the phones until 1 o'clock Saturday morning every week, explaining what Boris and Rishi had announced that night to clients, because clients couldn't sleep. So I was off, in the same way I supported my friends in the pub, I wanted to make sure my clients could sleep at night. So I wasn't waiting until Monday morning to tell them things. We had, every time we knew there was an announcement coming, a Calendly link went out where every client that wanted to book a 10-minute meeting on the phone could do so up until midnight.
Wow.
So
that's very generous, and that goes above what most people are prepared to do.
I couldn't sleep knowing my clients couldn't sleep. Like when a client rings me on a Friday night to say I've got a brown envelope from HMRC, or they message me saying that, I ring them straight away.
Yeah.
Like, I know what that feels like. I don't want my clients to suffer all weekend just because they've got a brown envelope. And actually, 2 or 3 minutes on the phone to me could solve that fear. So, yeah, so we did that. And that was all free of charge. And we did furlough free of charge because I didn't feel I could ethically charge someone for what was resulting in putting money on someone's, putting the food on the family's tables.
Yeah.
So, and I don't judge anyone that did charge. Everyone did their own thing, and that's absolutely fine.
And they also had their own food to put on the table, so it depends on the situation. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. So, yeah, and, in theory, I was in a very lucky position. My now wife was in pharmacy, so there was no furlough for her. She worked all the way through, as did I. So we didn't see a financial income hit for our family, so it wasn't dependent on me to suddenly cover someone else's wage or anything like that. So came out of furlough, and we then sat there going, right, what do we do next?
Because that wasn't challenging enough. Rest was the normal answer, by the way, Johann. It was rest.
Okay. We did rest for a little bit, but yeah. So we looked at it, and we knew acquisitions was a route we really. I'm not a marketer. I don't know how to advertise. I can get by generating organic leads, but I'm not great at that. That's not my skill set. Whereas actually acquiring a business, managing that change process, and leading that team.
Yeah.
Oh, I can nail that. I'm all over that. So that's an easier route for me. So that's what we did. But so we came out of COVID. I always tell that. At the start of that, and it's like, right, we want to going forward. Bev was introduced to me by her business coach at the time. Bev's herself. She was tough time in COVID. Enthusiasm for running around gone.
Yeah.
Staff members was being challenging, etc. So, I said, fine. We had a chat with Bev. I mean, I spoke to Bev for the first time properly, about it. We had our first conversation over the phone on the 13th of July, 2022. I took over a business on the 1st of August, 2022.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
That's fast.
Don't get me wrong, we had to work bloody hard for the next 3 months to get everything bedded in, because with Bev's business, it only came with one team member. So the relationships were with Bev. So my team had to then step in and facilitate those relationships and build that trust and relationships with us. So
that didn't come about because necessarily strategic planning, this is what we're going to do. It was more coincidental and kind of planets aligning.
Yeah, and I love people that have got 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10-year plans. My mum was one of those people. She always had a series of plans and goals for that period of time, whether they were personal or work related. I'm not so much one of those. I don't have a business plan. What I ensure I have is that I don't have any blinkers on. And I always ensure I can stop and assess an opportunity when it arises and decide if that's the right choice for me and my business.
Yeah.
So we haven't got a huge goal of we've got this many clients or this turnover or this many employees, blah, blah, blah. We've just got that overall holistic goal of it's got to be delivering the lifestyle, not only for me now, but also for all my team members.
Yeah.
To work and support them.
Yeah.
How we do
how
that.
to grow, but how to make sure that fits us where we are right now and the future us, whatever that may be, because that's going to fluctuate.
The only reason we're growing is to keep me interested, because I will get bored, and I need a new challenge. You know, so there's a reason I spin so many plates. There's a reason I do podcasting with Aaron Patrick. There's a reason, you know, I do a lot of work with QuickBooks, and I do a lot of stuff with client engagement, stuff like that. It's because I need variety and I need challenge, and it really motivates me. If I felt I was getting stagnant and bored, then I don't think I'd do my best job. And my clients and my team wouldn't benefit from me.
I think I'm very similar in that sense. Anything that falls into routine, like just starts to, I just get bored, distracted. I can't bring myself to do it. I had a saying when I was younger, very common saying, variety is the spice of life.
Yep.
And I didn't realise how much I knew about myself when I was younger. But obviously that theme has run through everything I've done ever.
Yeah, and you're right. Variety is the spice of life. You know, there's a lot of people that don't want that variety, and that's fine if that's how. As long as they're happy in life, then what's the matter? So I was then at Digital Accountancy show this year, where Joe Wood and I knew of each other. Hadn't necessarily met or anything. We just
it's hard to avoid both of you, so it'd be surprising if you didn't know each other.
But then Bev and I were at Digital Accountancy show, and Bev and Joe have go back years.
Yeah.
So Bev and I were there in the evening party, having a drink, catching up, putting the world to rights as you do. And Bev introduced me to Joe and said, "This is Joe," blah, 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 and we were chatting away. Then nothing. That was it. It was just a get to know you type thing, and then over a drink, and then carry on your normal life. And then Joe got in touch a few weeks ago. Again, about 2 or 3 weeks before we did the deal. I don't mess about. Just get on.
You really don't.
So Joe reached out to me and just said, "Look, Johann, I need to know where I need to get my business to in the next 3 or 4 years, so that I can sell it for what I want to achieve for it. Can we have a chat?" Yeah, no problems. I'm more than happy to advise on that. And she took me through where she was and what her challenges were, and where she didn't think it was quite ready, and what her goals were with the 6-figure bookkeepers and stuff like that. And she kept going on about this 3-year thing. I just said to her, "Joe, what happens to our industry in 3 years? MTD, it's a hit.
Yeah.
Every single firm owner over the age of 55 is going to try and get out of the industry and sell up."
So the value of that company might go down because everybody's selling.
Yeah, you flood the market with something, prices plummet.
Yeah.
So I said, you want to aim to sell within the next year or 2 at the latest to get the best value, because I don't know how long it will take to recover again.
Yeah, solid advice.
Yeah, so at that point, we ended the call, itch in my brain. So I dropped her an email that night with an offer, because I knew what she was looking for. I knew what she wanted to achieve out of the deal.
Yeah.
Not financially.
Your numbers were crunching.
No numbers were proposed or anything. It was more the team's got to be looked after, the clients have got to be looked after.
Yeah.
Is it worth rebranding now and spending 10K on a rebrand so that it's got a better brand in 2 years' time, because it's very much the Joe Wood show at the moment.
Yeah.
So I emailed her with an offer. Well, 2 offers, actually. And much to more of a tongue-in-cheek, thinking she won't come back, but at least she's got an indication of where it is now, and she can go from there. Next morning, she called and said, "That's very interesting. It's worth more than I thought. Let's discuss this further." So followed by 2 weeks of discussions because there's a lot of her family involved in the business. So her husband works in the business, her sister and her husband were both in the business. So there was a lot of emotion and ties to the business that needed to be discussed, a lot more than with Bev's business, where it was just Bev and her team, and that was fine. But yeah, and then on the 15th of August, we took over Joe Wood's business. Joe is still with us for the next week or two. Marie, Joe's sister, is staying on for a year as a transition manager to help us transition, because it's a two-way street. This isn't just me walking in saying, this is how you're doing it.
Yeah.
This is her telling us how they do it so we can learn as well.
Yeah.
Joe's husband's staying on and leading payroll for that group of clients and stuff. So, yeah, it's been an exciting week.
And then that facilitates the lifestyle that they want. Like,
Exactly.
I think it's all swings and roundabouts in business. It's yes, it's personal. Yes, this is your company. Yes, people treat it like their baby, and it is that heartbreaking. But it also, we're building businesses to, as you quite rightly say, facilitate our lives.
Yep.
So there needs to be that a level of detachment, I guess.
The morning you wake up after you've told your team you've sold the business and you've told your clients you've sold the business, you wake up empty. You wake up lost. Because ultimately, the thing you have focused on completely for the last however long isn't there anymore.
Yeah, your heart and your soul.
First day after, when you leave school, it's all fun and games until Monday morning comes around and goes, oh,
yeah,
my routine's gone. What do I do?
I remember when I started my business, having a routine of going into a sales office every single day, and then I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Started my own business. I sat at my desk. I was like, right, now what? Yeah. And it was the most underwhelming feeling I think I've ever had. Like, I literally didn't know what my first move was. So it was so weird to have that massive change.
Yeah, and that's what Bev and Joe have both told me in the past. Is
that.
And I now. I know that happens. I'm kind of ready to warn people that it happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, every business has got a worth somewhere. Now, whether, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's great to see that Joe's business was worth so much when, well, no one knows the price, but they've gone like, it's great to see Joe sold a business for what she wanted when it's got Joe Wood written all over it. Now, there is a caveat to that. And that is, it's got Joe Wood written all over it. Like, if Joe's happy with me and my team taking over, then it builds trust with other people. So it will lead to further opportunities. And we've had 3 inquiries in the last week. So, it's already working. Now, would Fred Smith bookkeeping down the road have the same appeal and the same fetch on price? No.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't got the same social media presence and fame.
Yeah, this is brand equity that she's built up over time because of the 6-figure bookkeeper club, because of how she's progressed her bookkeeping company, how she's told the story of it growing and the customer. Yeah, there's more to buying a company than buying the portfolio.
Exactly.
Like, the portfolio isn't the only thing that's worth anything.
The portfolio is the highest risk because they're the ones that go, oh no, we signed up to work with so and so. That person's not there anymore. And even though that person's never serviced them in their lives, the whole team's done it, but oh no, I signed up because of so and so, and they'll soon disappear if they think they've not got.
It's like going to a theme park that was once owned by Disney and is no longer owned by Disney, but say, oh, but I was supposed to be here for Disney. Like, it's the same rides, but the magic's gone.
Exactly.
Oh, it's interesting. So let's get some advice out there, because I've heard a number of times, this isn't just a once-off, bookkeepers building a business, small portfolio of clients, and they think that when it comes to an end, it will just die. It's like a light that will turn off. And I think that's such a shame, potentially a missed opportunity. So how can they evaluate the value of their business?
First of all, any accountant or bookkeeper just closing their doors, it's a huge disservice to their clients to start with. because they've spent years building this trust and rapport just to leave someone stranded outside. So it's in your client's interest to sell and to ensure there's a continuation of the service, as well as yours. So your client bank might only be worth £5,000 or £10,000 over a couple of years, but surely you'd rather that £5,000 or £10,000 than nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you close your doors and stop servicing clients, you get nothing. Where's the reward for all those years of hard work?
Yeah,
So,
that's what I think.
You know, what your firm's worth is the piece of string question. You know, it depends on processes, systems,
Time that you
reliability
sell.
on you. Everyone harps on about, oh, I want 1.2 or 1.3. It's like, and so got this and so got that. It's like, yeah, but they're profitable. You're not. And, you know, like sole traders, they've got it really hard. And one person limited companies got really hard, because when I look at their business as an opportunity to buy it, I have to think, right, Bob's not in charge anymore. Bob's gone. Bob's retiring, or whatever Bob's going to do. Someone's got to replace Bob to service those clients. Now, Bob might only be paying himself £20,000 a year, but for me to put an employee in to service them to the standards that Bob's doing, might cost me £30,000, £40,000, £50,000, depending on the facilities and the services being delivered. So all of a sudden, any profit shown on that profit and loss could be completely eradicated, at which point the business is going to struggle. Now, you can sell banks of clients and shut down the limited company and stuff. You're not going to get a huge return on that, and you're not going to get any cash up front. It's all going to be deferred, and you know, you might get 50p in the pound, and the moment a client goes somewhere else, well, that's it. You're not getting your 50p in your pound, because it's harder to retain clients when it's a one-person business. It's just a fact of challenges in life. So the more if you can get your business to 2 or 3 people, so the relationships are built with other people, that adds huge value to your business. But I've had many a conversation with many a person, and you know, they've always said, oh, well, actually, even if I just got, you know, I've got £20,000 a year turnover, even if I get £2,000 for that, paid out over a year, that's a nice holiday. That's a reward for my hard work.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, any business is worth something. It's just the owners having their expectations set properly.
So if you were to give some level of criteria to make it worth more than a holiday, let's just go for that level. Let's not go up here. Let's just go for more than a holiday. What kind of attributes are you looking for within the business?
To make it worth more than a holiday, the relationships need to be with someone else, not just a business owner.
Okay.
The processes need to be slick, and you really need a digital firm. Now, there are people out there who will come in and buy your business if it's all paper-based, but I guarantee the price is low, because the amount of time and investment they're going to have to put into it to get it to a modern practice standard is phenomenal. But it doesn't mean that there's no value there at all. So a digital firm that can be run anywhere by anyone. Ideally, there's someone else who's got relationships with the clients to help just continuation of service. And yeah, they're the 2 main ones, right? That like the fact that, you know, we could come in so quickly with Bev or with Joe's client base and just plug and go. It's because their clients are all on QuickBooks or Xero.
Yeah.
They're all using document processing. The whole team works from home. Like, you know,
it makes such a difference. I think COVID has really affected that as well, and potentially improved the saleability of it, because they've had to go so remote so fast. Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm going to bring it to an end. I hope people have got an insight as to how they can improve their business to help their business, help them achieve their dreams. I think that's what we're trying to get to here. I've got one final question for you, Johann.
Go for it.
What's the sexiest thing about accountants?
You know what? I think the whole industry at the moment is extremely cool place to be, right? When I entered the space 7 years ago, everyone was in shirt and ties. You go to a conference, no one talked to each other.
Yeah.
Now, the culture, the environment, the community has changed completely, and I think it's all for the better. And I think when I look around at all my clients and all their different industries, that community that we have is by far the sexiest part of our industry.
100% agree. 100. I just want to reiterate for the listeners, I had to choose which industry I niched in, and I had options. I've got experience in IT, I've got experience in legal, I've got experience with other service-based businesses. And I looked at the accounting industry and I was like, they've got some proper good stuff going on over there. Like the technical revolution, the community value, the events that they've got going on. Real sexy stuff. Love it.
The tech's probably the second sexiest part of it. Like I do sit there going, "Whoa, check out that!" I go to a conference and go, "Ooh, what a bit of that in my life."
But it is damn sexy because once again, if you go and look at other industries, they are not doing it. Like,
look at legal.
Yeah.
Nowhere near as the community, the tech, the culture, anything to what we've got.
Yeah. And that I had, as I say, I had experience in legal as well. And I was like, do I want to work with lawyers? Because I've got a lot of experience here. I helped build 2 firms, one of them ground up. So it was like, that is a really good space for me to be. And then I looked at accounting. I'm like, no, accounting just seems nicer.
Yeah.
Right. That is all we have time for. If people want to get hold of you, I assume that LinkedIn is a really good place to do that.
Seeing as I'm the 25th most followed person in the UK accounting space on LinkedIn, yes, follow me on LinkedIn.
For those that can't see that was watching, that's listening to the podcast, that was a hair flick by me.
LinkedIn's by far the best place to find me. I post on there almost daily. There is YouTube and there is a few other bits and pieces, but LinkedIn's my go-to.
Yes, the primary spot, and then you'll get to access everything else that Johann does. And if they are interested in selling their business, are you open to people contacting you about that?
Always open to conversations.
Yeah.
They're all confidential and there's no expectations whatsoever. If it just results in a call where I chat through what I'd be looking for and where they're up to and what they need to change, then great. If they need some help to change and get ready, then I normally just throw them Bev Flanagan's way because she's coaching in that space now.
She's doing really well. Love it.
If you're not ready, then go speak to Bev. If you are ready, then we'll have a chat. And if
you are ready, be careful because it might happen within 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, it could happen very quickly. But we go at whatever pace you tell us to go at.
Johann, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you and talking to you today. So thank you ever so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.